Robert Mueller has dominated dozens of news cycles with his investigation into alleged Russian meddling in U.S. politics. But that's not the only DOJ investigation going on. Inspector General Michael Horowitz has spent a year investigating how Jim Comey and the FBI handled their investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. Horowitz is the one who found Peter Strzok's text messages to his paramour bashing Donald Trump. Chris Swecker is a former assistant director at the FBI. He says Jim Comey's conduct last year has become a trap for Mueller's own investigation. Chris, I guess to use the president's words, whether or not the FBI is tainted, Mueller's investigation has been tainted by the revelations about these never-Trumpers in the previous investigation.
Well, Director Mueller is living with some of the things, some of the decisions and bad judgment of former Director Comey, who was in the position for 4 years before Director Mueller was appointed special counsel. And what's happened with Agent Strzok and his paramour is not helpful to the investigation, wherever his investigation is going. With 38 years of experience in this business around criminal investigations, I can tell you a good defense attorney can make something out of this alleged bias.
Yeah, that's critical if any of this stuff ever winds up before a jury. You lay the blame on Comey. His behavior since being removed from the Bureau, and indeed during the last couple of years before that, seems like a man temperamentally unsuited for the job he held. Is that a fair estimation?
Well, frankly, I was surprised at his judgment and his behavior. He had a good reputation. I think the agents liked him. He's very personable, and I dealt with him in my capacity as head of the FBI's criminal division. But the judgment that he displayed and the rules that he broke when he made a prosecutive decision as the FBI director and then announced it in great detail to the American public, instead of handing that investigation off to Loretta Lynch, who, if he thought was conflicted, could have recused herself and passed it down one notch, was just monumental bad judgment. I think a series of cascading events have that is what has drawn the FBI into politics.
Let me ask you about that, because if a crime winds up in the county courthouse, a policeman investigates it and the county attorney decides whether to prosecute it. In this case, the policeman and the county attorney were the same person, Jim Comey. Is that unusual in the Bureau's history?
Very unusual. If you look at the Justice Department procedures and the FBI's procedures and the Code of Federal Regulations, there is a separation between investigations and prosecution. The FBI will predicate an investigation with facts. They'll open it up, they'll conduct the investigation, they'll consult with the U.S. attorney, but the final prosecutive decisions are always made by either the U.S. attorney or someone within the main Justice Department. That's just the way it works.
Let me ask you this, because as I understand it, there's about 35,000 employees of the FBI, yet the same handful of people investigating one presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, then seemed to transfer seamlessly to investigate the other presidential candidate, Donald Trump. Do you think that's best practice, as it were?
No, I don't. Obviously, former Director Comey thought that was his A-team, so he had them transition very quickly to the Russian investigation after what I thought was a very half-hearted non-investigation of Hillary Clinton's emails. So that investigation runs out supposedly, and then it seems like a good percentage of that team was assigned to the Russian investigation with all the baggage they brought with them.
Yeah, you'd almost think it was like one reputation investigation. Get Hillary off the hook, and if that doesn't work, get Trump onto it. Chris, thanks very much. Interesting to hear from a former #3 G-man during these recent years.